The next part for activity 5.7 that we're going to go over is part number 3, which is using the hole command. Up until this point, if you've needed to make a hole, we've been using the extrude feature to do that, so making a circle and then extrude cutting. There's another way to make holes in parts that's a lot more flexible, a lot more versatile, and allows you to do a lot more different things. So if you look at number 3 in your activity sheet, the first thing we need to do is create this cylinder. So it has an overall diameter of 4 inches and then a depth of 1.5. So jump over to Inventor and create a new part. Standard IPT. The first thing we're going to do is create a 2D sketch on the XY axis. And we're going to use our circle command using the origin as our center point. And we're going to create a circle that is 4 inches in diameter. Zoom out a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish that sketch. Extrude that to a depth of 1.5. Now if we jump back to our activity sheet, you'll see that we have this internal circle here with a diameter of 2.5, and then that is the circle that all of our holes are going to fall on. So we need to create a new sketch on the surface of our cylinder we just created and add this as a 2D circle. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Inventor, grab a 2D sketch on this top surface, and I'm going to use the circle command again from the center point, and I'm going to make that diameter 2.5. Now if we go back to the activity sheet, you'll see that we have 5 holes in a circular pattern around that circle. So in order to place these holes in the correct spot, what we're going to do is put points on our sketch and then pattern those points around to give us something to select for the location of our holes. So you'll notice that there are 5 of them, and there's 72 degrees between each one. So if we go back to Inventor, I'm going to grab my point command, and I'm going to place a point at the intersection of the y-axis and that circle. And you can zoom in a little bit, you can see that green point there. Now what we're going to do is use the circular pattern command. I want to, my geometry, I want to select that point, and then my rotation axis is going to be the center point of this circle. And you can see how it patterns that point all the way around the circle. Now this shows 6, I only need 5, so if I go to my circular pattern panel and change that to a 5 and hit OK, you'll see how it patterned those points all the way around the circle. And I can go ahead and finish my sketch. The next thing I'm going to do is add a different hole type to each of these points. So if we go back to the activity sheet, this type of dimension here, this is our leader line going to our hole, and this dimension shows that this one is a 1/4 inch diameter through hole. And then these other ones look a little different. It's called hole notation. We haven't really talked about that yet. We will a little bit later on. But for this second one here, it's basically saying that I have a 0.375 inch diameter through hole, goes all the way through the part. It has a counter bore that is 0.75 inches in diameter, and that counter bore goes 0.25 inches deep. Next one here is another 0.375 inch diameter through hole, but it has a counter sink of 0.75 inches in diameter at 82 degrees. Our next hole has 1/4 20 UNC threads, and it is 0.75 inches deep. And then we have this final hole here. Now if we scroll down your activity sheet, each of these holes has the actual screenshot of the panel that you will use to create the hole. So all of your settings, whether it be diameter or counter bore, countersink, threads, everything is shown in each of these panels and exactly what you need to select and what needs to be located in each panel. So you can start with the first through hole, which is going to be this one here on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll back down here. I'm going to create this hole first, which is a 0.25 inch through hole. So I'm going to jump back to Inventor. I'm going to use my hole command, and it automatically selects all of them if I hit the hole command, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to hit cancel, and before I click the hole command, I want to go and click and select the point that where I'd like to put the hole. So I'm going to select that top point and then go and select the hole command, and it'll select that single hole, and you'll need to do this each time. Select the point and then go grab the hole command. So you can see that it's set up as a through hole, 0.25 or 0.25 inches in diameter, and the termination here is where you know if it's a through hole. So you can do through all, you can do a distance down, or you can do to a face or a point. So we want to use through all and 0.25 inches in diameter, and then just hit OK. Now if I rotate this around to the back side, you can see that hole goes all the way through. Now what you'll notice is that all of our points have disappeared because we've used that sketch. Now the only way for you to use that initial sketch you created is to share it. So if you go to your browser, you won't find it anywhere because it's been used by this first hole command. So if you hit the plus button next to the hole command, you'll find Sketch 2. And if you hover over it, it'll show all your points. Now if we need to use this for the rest of our holes, so what we're going to do is right click and share sketch. And when we share sketch, it pops back up on the browser outside of the hole command, and then it also shows back up on our drawing as well. So now we can use that sketch for the rest of our holes. So if we go back to the activity sheet, the second hole is going to be the counter bore. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the point where I'd like to place that, which is the next one going clockwise around the part. So select that hole and then use the hole command. And if I go back and take a look at the activity sheet, I need to select counter bore, which is the second option. It's through all, and the counter bore is 0.75 inches in diameter, 0.25 inches deep, and the through hole has a diameter of 0.375. So if I go back to Inventor, I'm going to choose counter bore, second option. My diameter is 0.75. My depth is 0.25, which it defaults to, and then my overall hole diameter is 0.375. Make sure that termination is through all, and you can hit apply. And we're going to hit cancel because it'll auto select the rest of them again. Next, and then from there on, you'll just have to select the point, go to the hole command, and add each of the different types of holes. So we've done the first two, which are the 1/4 inch through hole and the counter bore. You also have the counter sink, a tapped hole or a hole with threads. And pay attention to the bottom here. You'll have to change these settings down here and make this look exactly like it shows on here to make it correct. And then you have a clearance hole to add as well. And once you've added all those to this part, you can go ahead and save that as it shows on the activity sheet, which is indicated by the red arrow on your sheet. And this part should be called hole practice _ first initial last name, and make sure you save that in your 5.7 folder.